two other people dressed in maintenance uniforms, maintenance outfits, would carry a large garage-type door across campus. They would always be stationed right near where this event was going to take place, and they would walk between person A and person B. While they were halfway between person A and person B, because you couldn't see beyond the door was very large. When they would walk between person A and person B, the person that was talking or listening to person A would follow the door, and another person would be dropped off. So when the door had passed through, the person that was answering the question of directions was now talking to a completely different person who actually didn't look similar and had different clothes on. But the only thing that they had was identical was they had the same pad of paper and the same pen. Only 50% of the people that went through this experiment unwittingly caught it. The other 50% hadn't been noticing enough to realize that now there's a blue hat instead of a red hat, there's a pink shirt instead of a yellow shirt. Obviously the people didn't dress very nicely. Didn't coordinate their hat and shirt. And that instead of 5'7", the person's now 6 feet. What do you perceive in the world? You have limited your perception, which moves across the board so that you don't hit your head on the lid of your jar. And so what you have reduced your perception to is just enough so that you don't feel the pain of the incredible awareness that you have the opportunity to achieve. And it's what the Buddha called existential pain. The pain of existing. What do you use to mask that pain? Because as you mask that pain, you also mask the joy. And because happiness is a requirement, you replace the happiness or joy, whichever word you want to use, you replace it with a synthetic called pleasure. Pleasure is a synthetic joy. Pleasure can be achieved from the outside, joy cannot. Joy can only be conjured on the inside. It can be stimulated by something that's going on the outside. But joy does not come from the outside. So here's what we do when we're viewing. Here's the object, which is a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. And here's you viewed from the top, and here are your two eyeballs. Obviously, it's sort of an illustration. It's not a photograph. If this were to go up in a gallery, it would be called impressionistic. This was Guru Singh's impression. So what happens is this. When your brain is operating very, very, very rapidly, you actually don't view. You don't perceive the person, place, thing, or idea. Your view converges before it receives. So you converge on your opinion, or you converge on your attitude, or you converge on your memory of what something like this once meant to you, or you converge on your anticipation of what something like this person, place, thing, or idea will mean to you. But you don't see the person, place, thing, or idea. So as your view, and you become so accustomed to this after 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 years, and then it keeps going, but I didn't want to go any further because I was running out of breath. You become so accustomed to this that you actually begin to believe that it's real. You meet people and you have interactions with them and you have conversations with them and you've never met them. Even after the conversation, you've not met the person. You've met some convergence of your idea, of your opinion, of your attitude, of your memory, of your anticipation, but you've not met the person. The person has the same color hair as 15 people in your past. So you've locked that into memory. The person has the same color eyes as 15 people in the past, and you've locked that into memory. The person has the same, all of this information is coming through your hippocampus, which is the indexer in your brain, which pulls all of this information, and you create a composite, and you say, hi, good to meet you, but you haven't met. That's why White Tantric Yoga is such a disruptor to this system, because in White Tantric Yoga, you go eyeball into eyeball if you can do it, and then when you're first trying to do it, what happens is you go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You can see it right in front of you, going, the person going, which eyeball should I look at? Because the eyes are not able to unconverge. The eyes are not able to unconverge. So what happens when you're going right, left, right, left, right, is your body starts to ache. It starts to go, this is uncomfortable. So now you're sitting there, you're not paralleling your eyes. All you're aware of is that it's really uncomfortable in this position. And you know what that is? That's the human addiction. Sympathy. Because we need sympathy. It's a human requirement. It leads to empathy, but most people don't ever get through that threshold. They remain for their whole life in need of sympathy. And when they have gotten tired of sympathy from others, and it's been sometimes embarrassing and sometimes ridiculous, they start going in that really internal wheel that's self-sympathy. And you'll ask them, what's wrong? Nothing. I'm fine. Which means, I'll say it in the way that can be repeated on the internet when you're Guru Singh, freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. But the F was used in a different way. I'm fine, it's an acronym. Which means I'm freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional, but I'm not going to say it. What I'm actually going to say is I'm fine, but what's really happening is I'm just feeding myself some sympathy. An example of someone feeding themselves sympathy is an adult sucking their thumb. Only they do it in a virtual way. No child ever gained any nutrition from the thumb. But it's a universal reality. Almost all children will eventually, at some point in time in their life, suck their thumb. One generation doesn't say to the next generation, hey, it's worthless, don't do it. You know, oh, okay. Everybody talks to each other, you know, it's just worthless. Give it up. Okay? No, it's something that everybody does. What thumb are you sucking? What sympathy are you asking for? Sympathy is a sweet, sweet snack. But sympathy disrupts success. Just like a snack can disrupt your appetite. Because success requires an appetite. Just like we go back to the original point of this lecture. Sympathy disrupts your appetite because it doesn't give you a sense of danger. It maintains your sense of safety. And so you don't feel the need to grow. When you experience the need to grow, sympathy is a disruption. And some people will live their lives on pure, absolute sympathy. And what will they surround themselves with? Who will they surround themselves with? The what is they will surround themselves with almost successes. And people who will sympathize with how that happened. This gets real personal. Because we all have a degree of this in our system. It's a human event. It's probably been passed on through that epigenetic 90% of our DNA that is created through the emotional body. It's not the thing that gives you the color of your eyes or the way in which your skin or hair and everything else look, but it's the way in which you are establishing yourself in relation to your identity. How do we overcome it? It's beautiful. Because we were gifted with a worship instrument that if you discipline and work with it, it can overcome it very easily. It's all about the way you hold your structure. The way you were laughing, I thought maybe I had it upside down. Which would have meant I would need some sympathy. Thank God I made it through this. Your legs are an equation. Your feet, your ankles, your lower legs, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your pelvic bowl. And then in the pelvic bowl is the salad of all of your glands and organs, which produce the hormones and peptides that create your emotional sensations. And then right above that is the lid on the pot of your emotions, which is your diaphragm. You find people that are trying to be unemotional will hold their diaphragm very stiff. They're breathing very shallow. The first thing that happens to people when they start doing Kundalini Yoga is they start breathing more deeply, more diaphragmatically, and all of a sudden the emotions start to bubble through, right? You see people crying all the time in yoga classes. You see people laughing in yoga classes. I can remember the early days of my, I was a yogi from birth, and even I had, ancestral stuff that I had to work with. Then through the diaphragm you have this event called the heart and lungs, which is this incredible center of opportunity, of neutrality. And above that, the shoulders, which hold the reticular formation, which is going to either cause you to view your world as it is, or view your world as you view your world. And if you view your world as you view your world, you view your world to guarantee that you believe that you're right. And we've all been there, and we've all met those who are there and have been there, etc. And it can be nuanced, it can be in your face, it can be taken so many forms. But the reality of life is that you do have to move through the pain. You don't have to have it all just down on your head, but you do have to swim through the pain of all of the two-dimensional right, wrong, good, bad, yes, no experiences until you exhaust that two-dimensional requirement of safety so that you can begin growth. And when you begin growth, you start to neutralize your opinion. You start to neutralize your judgment. I mean, we're looking at the, everything coming back out of the Middle East, and the Middle East is a byproduct of the fact that, the Middle East has oil, and oil is the thing that everybody in the world, every industrial nation in the world wants. So, you can't find a beginning to that thread of why everything is happening in the world. And then you look at other places in the world where there's tremendous starvation, and you look at Africa and you see one thing going on. You look at the Middle East, you see another thing going on. You look at Asia, you look at China, you see another thing going on. You look all around the world and you see these things going on. And you just have to come to the reality that I have to become the solution. When I find the solution within me, I can entrain those around me. And if I can get a broadcast system going, I can entrain many to follow if they so choose. To follow if they so choose. And in that way, we can make a difference. We can become the difference that we want to see. We can become the change that we want to see take place in the world. What we must do is because we can't change anyone that we're judging. You cannot change someone if you're judging their behavior. That's a tricky one. Because if you're not judging their behavior, why would you want them to change? You can view their behavior. You can see that it's disruptive. You can see that it's unhealthy. And then you can view down through that unhealthy, disruptive mask, because this is the person that you have to create an agreement with in order to make these people go away. Is that clear?
Yes.
Can you germinate a seed that refuses to dissolve its shell? And this is the shell. And those disruptive, unhealthy patterns are all part of the shell's protective nature that it surrounds itself with. The seed's protection is the shell. But the seed is you. That's where the reflection is. So what Kundalini Yoga gives you the capacity to do is to, what Yogi Bhajan called, view the flames. View the flames until they bow before you. How's that, huh? Because those flames can feel threatening. Those flames can feel so inappropriate. But if you can remain neutral in the face of those flames of the world that is taking place around you, until those flames die down, you slip through inside the flames, inside the shell. You just slip inside. Now your infinity is matched. One thing that you got to watch out, and this ends the lecture on a low note. The one thing that you got to watch out when you get inside someone else is you don't misinterpret it. Because you can take advantage of every single thing that person is inside that shell. You can take advantage of them economically. You can take advantage of them socially. You can take advantage of them emotionally. You can take advantage of them sexually. And you see it all the time. Once you gain that ability and you can slip inside someone's shell, you have to remain neutral inside that shell. I equated it the other day when I was teaching at men's camp, right? Because men come to men's camp. We'll leave it at that. You're inside Tiffany's. It's nighttime, there's no guards. You suddenly wake up in your dream, you've been sleepwalking, and you're inside Tiffany's. and you're just walking around, picking up things that have fallen on the floor and putting them back on the display shelf. And you walk out of Tiffany's, having made it a better place, but nothing's missing. Is that clear?
Yeah.
That's our goal. That's our goal. Let's get to it.